Okay, it is Thursday, September 4th. Believe it or not, Thursday, September 4th, you are watching the Convergence Report with Mike Thomas right here on XE's TV live stream by Nordstrom Digital Media here at the Downtown Windsor Business Accelerator. And again, as Sam was saying, we are the best live internet show in Windsor Essex between the Convergence Report with Mike Thomas, Betty to Go with Betty Goodell, Ashley, our Beyond Incredible with Ashley Cole and Shay Rochelle. And of course, we're going to have Jock Talk coming back with Brett Hedges as we can get full force into the hockey season, into the basketball season, and of course into the football season. And we'll do a little bit at the end. But that is what we're looking at, okay? And we are here again, September, unbelievable. Labor Day's already got passed. The kids are back in school, okay? You watch us live, I always say the same thing. Watch us live. Thank you very much. Let's get those views up live. We'd love to see it. But if you, for some reason, you weren't around your computer that particular day and you want to see it again, you want to kind of take a look at the best parts of the Convergence Report with Mike Thomas, then look, check us out on YouTube. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Again, we're hitting about a little around, pretty close to or a little over than 30,000 total views. And what we haven't even gone even forward yet to let everybody know was the fact that there very shortly we're actually exploring the live streaming directly from YouTube. We got that offer from YouTube, so it's showing you our views are up there, that we're being viewed by others, including YouTube. So do subscribe to us and do check us out for all the latest shows, and from the ones from before. Check them out and you can see like the great local programming that's here. We also want you to check us out on Facebook. You can see this live stream on Facebook. You can see it on Nordstrom Digital Media's site through the XC's TV. I would say it's the XTV's portal or on site. Click on that and you can watch us there. But you can watch us on Facebook. And again, we want you to like Nordstrom Digital Media on Facebook. And of course, I call it the Convergence Report with Mike Thomas. I'm also on Facebook. So check me out. That's where I do my posting when I got to do more of a news follow. And then I kind of put up and comment on some of the things that I am following throughout the day, throughout the week. And that's how my flavor of the show begins. And of course, that's what I call it. I call it Facebook karma. That's how I build it. I call it the Thought Police. And each week I just get more examples of the Thought Police, our big brother, and our big brother try to fight off the hackers. And of course, because once they get it and they say, I saw that, they post it. Okay? If they post it and I can grab it, chances are it's going to be on this show, whether or not it's through Facebook, whether or not it's through Twitter, whether or not it's through Vines or Instagram, or all the different ways that we kind of post or send our thoughts out to for everybody to have, again, through Facebook and the Thought Police. Okay, don't forget, Facebook karma. I saw that. Once you send it, it's gone and it's everybody's. And if it's up there like in iCloud or something like that, we just found out how safe that was. And that really leads me to the first story for today, and it really is the iCloud story. And I saw this one kind of developing a couple of years ago. You knew it was going to happen eventually. I did a story a little earlier this year in regards to everybody. Everybody said it's so safe. And it was like every major bank, the department store, whether it's Target, I even saw in Canada, it was TD, Toronto Dominion. They went through one after another where this was hacked and this was hacked and this was hacked, and oh, we're sorry. And there's class action lawsuits in regards to being hacked and people getting your information, to the point where the heartbleed one around tax time, where they had to extend tax time for everybody, or the tax deadline, because they had to fix the holes before they could progress. Because again, very, very sensitive information, lots of social insurance numbers out there for easy access. So again, we kind of saw that. And I did follow it. I was more so, I guess, I kind of looked at it, maybe not the phone side of it, but I first saw it on Google, where they wanted, they have the little storage site up on Google, or Dropbox or whatever, and you can put, instead of carrying around your 5 USB drives or worried about your laptop being smashed and grabbed, that if you were going to a special meeting, if you were going somewhere, that you could put this information up in this secret little place, and they're using SkyCloud and iCloud and all kinds of things for people to feel nice and soft and warm and fuzzy about where they're putting their files. And people started to do that. And they said, well, Mike, just go there. That's where it's at. We'll share it that way back and forth, and it's much, much easier than doing it through email. And I get that. Email gets a little clumsy from time to time. But I was kind of saying, yeah, but if you put it up there, it's how safe is it? And, oh, it's safe. I do all my business through there. I do all my stuff through there, to the point where in the iCloud side of it, we've already seen people's phones being taken or home phones being hacked. But in the iCloud scenario, where and I only got the 3 or 4 biggest names. There's probably a lot more. The stories I was following with, obviously Jennifer Lawrence had some nude pictures. Takes a lot of selfies of herself or something. I'm not really sure, but she put them all up on iCloud. I didn't get that. Rhiannon, Rhiannon, I can expect. Yeah, she would have her pictures safely tucked away up on iCloud. And then the one person that had to answer a lot of questions in regards to baseball and how it's going to affect his game was Justin Verlander and the pictures of himself and his girlfriend Kate Upton. And I just, can people just, I got to understand files because it's an important meeting, but how do you kind of load up your nude photos and things? I just don't understand it. And again, they could swear. I'll use the old-fashioned analogy. They could swear on a stack of Bibles that is safe, it'll never be hacked, but it's just a challenge. It's just a challenge for the hackers to find out if they can do it, and whether or not it's Apple, whether it's Microsoft, or whatever. That's exactly what happened. So just another example of Facebook karma, where if you put it up somewhere, somebody's going to come get it. And they posted it, and I think they got it branched down. I have to research the name, but I think they got the one guy. They think they know who it was, and charges will be following. And they don't want anybody mad because of some of the sensitive people like an Uptons or the Jennifer Lawrence's, very, 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 very favorites out there in the world, that they're not wanting. They're not wanting the fact that they don't want anybody mad. He doesn't want anybody mad at me because I grabbed these pictures and I posted them. So careful what you wish for at the end of the day. That's another analogy. Careful what you wish for at the end of the day, whether it's posting them up or hacking them and sending them out. So no whining after the fact. That's how I kind of look at it. Just a quick update. This one kind of developed throughout the day. Started early this morning. It actually started early this morning with, I was kind of following it on Twitter because I was kind of just catching the news, and it was the St. Clair College Sportsplex was opening up. So it was quite a crowd out there, big cut the ribbon thing with everybody. And somebody that was in attendance and really watching was former Mayor John Milson was in attendance, and of course little tweets were going back and forth that somebody spoke to him, and people were walking up to John Milson and saying, you should run, you should really run, you should kind of put these issues to bed. And then all of a sudden it kind of was building. It was like, and I think that's what he was trying to do. Like, people really use social media to find out where they kind of stand. Are they going to get support? Did they get a bunch of tweets that said, way to go, John, you're the man? And then as the day progressed, and finally, big announcement tomorrow, and I still believe his official announcement, well, I don't think it's official anymore, his big press release was going to be on Friday, September 5th, but he actually ended up at the Windsor Star. They call it the Windsor Star News Cafe, and he was there initially speaking to Dawson Chen. I think Doug Schmidt also popped the story pretty quick, and I think everybody was. Like, and Bob Belichico was saying, John Milson, he's thinking of running. So it was everybody. If you were going to get a John Milson story, you were going to get it earlier today at the St. Clair College opening of the Sportsplex, and sure enough, it did begin. And as I call it, I kind of use the Beatles here, number 9, number 9, number 9, number 9, because now we have 9 candidates for mayors. Last week I reported there was 8. So I don't know how it's going to shake out. You have a couple of the candidates that actually they definitely were talking about, I'm going to leave my name maybe to the last minute and kind of see how serious it's going to be one way or another. And so now with some, I'm going to say much more credible, and I'm not picking on them, you put your name forward, hey, way to go. But people that, like you got a Drew Dilkins, you've got Easterbrook, you've got Horwitz, you now have got Milson, and you've got some other local business people that are interested in the position. I wonder how many it's going to shake out to be as we get to that deadline where put your name and before you can't get your registration fee back. So I kind of wonder what's going to happen, and even some of the other ones, the ones that kind of put their name forward, will they kind of change their mind, get a little bit closer, saying, I don't want to like here we go through the same thing. We don't want to dilute the vote. Okay, if you got some good, credible candidates for mayor, let's go forward. And I'll talk about the Toronto mayoral election for the same thing happening. But let's go forward with the best of the best and give the people the best choices. Okay, and get the voters out there, not to be all clouded with 9 or 10 people on the ballot. So let's wait and see what's going to happen there. Okay, so that was it. Okay, and doing a couple other mayor things out there. I was at Labor Day. I did follow Labor, took some pictures did post them up, but I was scanning the crowd and watching the crowd, and a couple comments were made. A couple comments made by Chris Taylor. He's the president of the Windsor District Labor Council, and I did talk about this last week, and he was absolutely adamant, saying, just don't, if you look for our support, we just don't want we just don't want pretend support here. If you want our support, then you fill out the 5 questions, you answer those questions, but we want you to be outward, saying that you are in support of Windsor, you're in support of Labour, and that is the type of candidate that you want to be, that you be up front and saying you want what's best for everybody across the board. And so that was what the statement was made. And honestly, I was nice to see. Personally, I was kind of looking around the crowd, seeing if there's candidates were there. Larry Horowitz, a candidate for mayor, was in the crowd, did participate in the day. So you know what, you're seeing some people kind of maybe trying to reach out and saying, understanding that Labour is part of this community, and we need to all work together going forward. And I think that's so very, very important. So with that, it has begun, and I want people to kind of keep an eye on this. So I'm going to have to escape out just for a quick minute here. Okay, get this down and get it to where I want it to be. I wasn't even right where I want it to be. Okay, and I'm kind of keeping off of it. But the Windsor Star, they put a straw poll out there now with all the candidates that are listed. You can go to their site, go to them online, and then you can get to it. The nice little story, I think. Oh, geez, I'll even give them a little bit of credit at the end. Okay, if the Windsor mayor election were held today, who would you vote? And they definitely do have John Milson up there. Okay, and I guess it's 1 to 9. Based upon how they entered, that's what it looks like to me. Well, maybe not. Ernie Bakerman's still up there pretty high, but right off the bat, it's changed that much. There's about 500 people voted, as I have it kind of live on the screen right now. So I want people to check it out. I want people to keep on voting. And here we go. We got Milson about 39%, right, coming out of the blocks pretty quick there with 199 votes. Dilkins has remained around 22% for most of the day from what I've been following, about 116 votes now. Horowitz is right behind him at 21, almost 22%. Ernie Bakeman drops down to about 12% after that. And then you kind of get to, I'm not going to call them fringes, because they put their names out there. Easterbrook to date, or to this time, roughly 6:30, is about almost 2%. Got almost 1.5% for Henry Lau. And of course, Timothy Dugdale did get 3 votes, good for him, and Raymond Poisson has not received any votes yet. So this is a good, I think pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool and quick for the Windsor Star to get out there and do that. So I definitely think go to the Windsor Star, go to online, check it out, and cast your initial ballot and see how that is going to affect our election going forward. Okay. So the other one I was following today, and I left the picture up, and whether or not it's on the screen, I don't know if it's on the screen or not. I lost Alex for a moment there, but it started. It's the Toronto mayoral election, and it was another big debate, and it was sponsored by, oh God, I think it was sponsored by the Globe and Mail, and then the Toronto Society of whatever, Business Society. So they did it, and they had the 4. They definitely had the 4 candidates were there. They had John Tory, Rob Ford, Olivia Chow, and David Soknacki. He was also there. And here's a picture. And if we showed it on the screen, Alex, it'd be great. Here's the picture of them at the little luncheon before the debate began, and who I did follow all day long. And I'll get her background. She's from the Globe and Mail, but she followed it on Twitter all day. Was Anne Hui. And she's a Globe and Mail reporter, and she did, and from Municipal Affairs, she definitely was covering it, and kind of she followed it pretty closely and kept tweeting about what was happening in the crowd. We definitely had, it was a little joke on the bottom here, John, you want some water? David Soknacki once says to Tory, and after passing, and who looked really uncomfortable there was actually Rob Ford, if you look at the picture. But that's how it kind of started the road today. And I'm not going to go through 3,000 million tweets, but there, it was followed. I listened to as much as I could. And again, she's a Toronto City Hall reporter, and they made some joke. There were some jokes that came out after the fact. There was a little bell. The rules were you can only speak for a minute at a time, and they really tried to do that. You saw some of the attacks with a little bit of yelling and a little bit of over-talking of each other during the open part of it, and then all of a sudden this aggravating little bell would ring to try to bring everybody back into control, and got to get on to the next question. And there was quite a few things. You need to go, you should check her out, follow her Okay, then you can read a kind of, I'll call it a blow-by-blow description of what was kind of going on through the crowd. And there was a crowd out there, and I'll be quite serious. And it looked like Tory was handling himself pretty well. Olivia Chow was doing what she could to answer the questions. Saknaki came out afterwards, and I guess he's actually investigating as to whether or not he would drop out. Karen Stintz has already left that particular election, so she's kind of letting that one go right now. But here it was that it was all the questions, and it really again showed it showed the real Rob Ford. When you get him kind of in there, the real Rob Ford, where he couldn't answer a lot of questions. He just fell back on the same old stuff and saying, you know what, my whole term, we saved a bunch of money, and stuff about the Fords can't be bought. And there were questions like that out there. He was heckled a few times. He really just tried to, I'm going to say, push his way in or kind of bully his way into the conversations. And if he wasn't getting his way, it was just a stomp, stomp, stomp. And that was just your basic Rob Ford. If people can't see that, you need a mayor. You need a mayor to run one of the largest cities. And he said, they asked him a question if they used any, has he been using the mayor's office to run his campaign? And he says, I'm still the mayor. I'm still the mayor. Well, we know you're still the mayor. You know what? You weren't functioning there for a bit, but we understand you're still the mayor, so you don't have to get so defensive. Let's answer the questions. And really what it came down to be for Rob Ford a lot of times was that he wasn't answering questions. He was heckled. There was one time that Anne Hui, she basically said that they were yelling and screaming back and forth, and then all of a sudden the big jump out was that that she heard somebody yell out, Jimmy Kimmel, okay? because that's still making the rounds on the commercials as far as free publicity for Rob, as it always is for the joke that he really is. He said his conflict of interest is zero. He had to answer that for some reason. He apologizes. But it did say, he said, he dismissed the fact, Rob Ford dismissed the fact that the people were mocking him, and they were. They were yelling out his answers, or if he answered a question wrong, they said, yeah, you didn't even know that. They heckled him, they laughed at him, they cheered when Tory or Chow or Saknaki made good points, and he called them an elitist crowd, whatever the heck. He still kind of pretends. If you look at the little Jimmy Kimmel bit, he keeps pretending that he's the everyday's working man, and he's not. He comes from a very, very wealthy family of career politicians, including himself, and I think it was his father and his brother who still wants to be a politician. And at the end, he keeps saying, I'm just Joe Ford. No, you're not just Joe Ford. You're Rob Ford. You have a great big ass Escalade, and that's what you do. And quit trying to pull the wool over people's eyes. You didn't just do it all by yourself in that city, okay? And for the last little part, if I guess the Toronto's doing so well, it's because you weren't even in a position of power for the. I guess they are doing pretty well there. Still doesn't want to answer questions about the police, even though this was after, so it wasn't part of the debate. The debate they kept relatively clean, and then they didn't they said, well, there's no point of asking. We're not going to bring up crack questions. We're not here for this. We're here to say who wants to be mayor. Okay, and so, but after that, they had the scrums, which they make everybody open. When Chow appeared, they said Chow appeared, Saknaki appeared, John Tory appeared, and they gave him credit, John Tory credit for a lot of the zingers that he did, shooting from the hip at Rob Ford. And it looked like Ford wasn't going to participate, and then just comes running out at the last minute. Maybe he was told, you better go do that. Okay, they're waiting for you, but it's the same thing. Saknaki says every time media report says he may drop out, he gets more donations, so he thanks everybody. But he says he is having conversations, he is checking it out whether or not he should continue in, and that's just what it is. Again, the football allegations came out after, that was from before. He had a kind of a mess of a trouble with that before that, and it's just, I don't know, it's just hope that people can see through this at the end. I don't know how many candidates will be there at the end, whether or not there'll be 3 or 4. But they definitely, again, it's something you should really take seriously at. That if people, if people got to stop voting for the joke person, okay, they need to vote for somebody that they will give the respect to be a politician. It's about time giving the respect back to some politicians that are making the effort out there. So again, so that is kind of the mayoral rant for the day. Now, let me get back to where I was from current slide. All right, so we're at 9. They're down to 4, and again, I think that was part of my story regarding what we should be doing going forward, and look at some of the candidates and say, okay, let's not dilute the vote. Let's let the real candidates run. And thank you for all your intentions, but maybe some of the ones should start a counselor first, and let's see what kind of decisions they make before the deadline comes up. And keep doing this one, and I do comment, and I don't know if comments are always taken extremely seriously or not. In regards to the upcoming election, in regards to comments always being made. Larry Horowitz has again made some comments in regards to the NWIN audit, saying what he would do if he was elected mayor, and of course it gets beaten. This time at least they let that, and I really made those comments. At least they let Drew Dilkins talk this time. And I did Eddie Francis's campaign, okay, our campaign manager that's running for Dilkins. Running it for Dilkins, so they finally let him speak, and I missed it initially. I'm going, gee, where's Eddie's comments? But sure enough, at the bottom of the article, Eddie had also made his comments saying, again, same thing, that everything's in order and everything's well. Well, if everything's in order and everything's so well, then why is there so many questions? Okay, and that's really what it comes down to, because if you just always say that everything's great and everything's wonderful, and you're leaving now, then at the end, why let the candidates decide, and let the future mayor decide, not the going to be former mayor, decide what is all right and wrong and right true. If they have to review it, and the mayor says, I want to review it because of the comments I've heard, the next mayor, then that they should do it, and Eddie Francis shouldn't be stomping around saying, you don't need to do this, you don't need to do that. The next mayor and the next council will make those decisions. I'm so hoping that we're in lame duck and that this is done. I don't know. Again, I said that I don't know how much more money you can spend before the council becomes a lame duck council. But in saying all that, and I try to prove my point in that he was hired by the Windsor Family Credit Union. He'll be moving on to there. And the Windsor Family Credit Union is considered to be always on the top of the list there, to be one of the best employers. I think it's Ontario. And I really, really, really want to see how that remains going forward with Eddie Francis showing up and bringing his style of business leadership. We've heard many, many complaints over the last little bit in regards to his leadership and when he says what he says goes. So I hope Marty's ready for that. In saying that, the Windsor Family Credit Union, and I did make a couple phone calls on my own. The Windsor Family Credit Union is the same thing. Okay, there is a membership. There are people that they have to, just like the voters, just like the electorate. There is a board that makes decisions, and their decision was to, I thought that a former mayor of his caliber, Eddie Francis, should be chosen to be hired, like not on the board, but he's hired. So sure enough, okay, there is coming up. And I just let if anybody's a member of the Windsor Family Credit Union, okay, that there is a meeting on Tuesday, September 16th, and you have to let them know. That's how the system is. You just can't show up. So you have to email pmartin@windsorfamily.com. You can go to their website, get that information. It is the regular meeting, the report of the board of directors, report of the president and CEO. A report of the treasurer's nominating committee, because there's also some open spots on the board I'll talk about in a minute. Okay. Also, there's going to be some amendments, and of course, they'll have that there. We'll make these changes. But I always say the same thing. If you're not liking, like myself, and I'm going to have to make that decision on my own, not liking the decision going forward of what's happening at the Windsor Family Credit Union, based upon a person that doesn't really seem to know where this credit union came from at the end of the day, the history of the credit union, or maybe the current leadership of the credit union doesn't understand what the history is. Maybe it's something they should take a look at, and maybe they should have to answer some questions in regards to that. They actually have a policy on the importance of youth activity or youth activity within their own system. So here they go, and it's right on their website. And I always thought I looked it up. I thought it was really weird, but they have 4 people that want to be for the 3 spots on the new spots on the board, or the available spots on the board. So recommended by the nomination committee was Vince Marcotte, Kevin Haig, and Victor Neufeld, all relatively business people in this community. And of course, one young fellow named John Litke from the Urbanite, editor of the Urbanite. He put his name forward to get on the board of the credit union. And of course, big words across the board. Okay, for all you voters out there, not recommended by the nominating committee. So again, take a look at that as far as trying to encourage youth, a new flavor, a new idea. It's very similar to having like an Eddie Francis be hired. So why are we just looking for the same old, same old? Why won't you look at somebody young, bright, trying to make some changes in Windsor? okay, and going forward. And that's what I would expect from the credit union, the Windsor Family Credit Union, and maybe not from, I guess, not from what I see. So my disappointment continues to be raised. I'm going to do a little bit of my time. I'm going to do a little bit, and this is like kind of an announcement type of thing. I am hoping to cover. I'm going to be covering the Windsor Spitfires this year as a local blogger, okay, on localsportsreport.com, and it's out of Niagara, and they're trying to start with the OHL flavor, and then they're going to expand. And I did offer up. Also was the Windsor Express. Okay, big bit to do that. It is the 40th of anniversary. It's 1975 to 2015 of the Windsor Spitfires. And just, to go there. Oh, there we go. I'll go back a minute. Oh, clicking too fast there. That's how it normally works. But just doing an update here, and I usually do this on the sports side of it a little bit. Okay, in the trade news, okay, for the Windsor Spitfires, Brody Milne was released by the Spitfires earlier this week, but he has now landed with the Sudbury Wolves. And in exchange, we got a conditional pick in the 2015 draft. They picked up a new scout, or head scout, is Wayne Smith, Stanley Cup winner Wayne Smith. And so they're going to be a little bit of leadership they brought to the Windsor Spitfires. And also they picked up his Slater Doggett. He's a center defenseman from the Kingston Frontenacs, as again. And some of the ones that I've seen so far was that the Spitfires are saying, or Warren Weichel is basically stating that he's going to get in that Memorial Cup fever, that playoff fever. He wants to go deeper into the playoffs or all the way to Memorial Cup himself. So he's definitely looking at doing that. And of course, it begins, if you still have time tonight, there is a preseason game at the WFCU Center against the Plymouth Whalers starting at 7 o'clock. So you still got, let's go start. They're dropping the puck in about 5 minutes. Okay. And I bring back my little guy. This is my own little guy here, okay, as I try to use him when I do a post, and I kind of been doing it in my own kind of personal blog, and I kind of relaunched him. I call him Captain Webb. Okay, so Captain Webb will be launching the blog. Whatever blog I send up, I brought Captain Webb. I kind of found him. When I was going to school for journalism. Okay, and I'm bringing Captain Webb back so that everybody can get to meet him going forward. Okay, and as far as me and Alex, as my co-producer Alex, and it's almost time, and it does begin. Now, it does begin tonight. I'll talk about that in a minute. But what really does begin on Monday, a Monday night game against the New York Giants. Right here I'll call it at home. I know we're Windsor, or we're South Detroit, right? South Detroit, that's where we're at. South Detroit right here, okay? And I will be going to the game again with my son. We're going to give season tickets a go again. So really can't wait. There's a special T-shirt. I guess if you go to Detroit Lions website or web store, that this is what's available. So I don't know if they're going to have them in the building or not. But this is what we're really pitching. And just say Coach Jim Caldwell, new head coach Jim Caldwell, says very, very excited to can't wait to get that first game going, and he said, and to have the spotlight of being on the Monday night spectacular, to not begin the season but to begin the Monday night season. So really looking to start playing some football and to watching some football after it's kind of like we kind of a little disappointment. But we're going to see what Stafford and Johnson and Bush and Golden Tate now, and see what the team can bring. We definitely can't wait to get this thing going. And And Megatron, absolutely. Didn't get much in preseason actually, but we know that he's all ready to go. We can't wait. We just can't wait. And they made some good changes. And I guess we're just going to wait and see what our secondary does. That's really what we believe. And our forecasts keep going back and forth. They're saying we actually do have a kind of a really crap schedule. We come in. It looks like it's game on, game off. Home away, starting with the Monday night game. But really, I think we only have 2 home games in the last 7, and we have 2 really wild road games. We have 2 wild road games against the Packers and the Bears to finish the season, and we have the crazy game in London, England. Trying to remember who got that. That was, I think it was the Falcons. I'm going to say the Falcons. I'm not going to say a team. I got to check my schedule. But anyway, so they got the crazy game in England. They got the Monday night game to start. They've got those other ones. So again, it's going to be a different season as far as trying to follow it. Tonight is the night, and we got 1 minute, and I'm going to go as fast as I can. But tonight, football starts. You got the Seahawks versus the Packers. They kind of really building this one up. Former Super Bowl champ team, Packers, new Super Bowl champ team, Seattle Seahawks, and of course, the crazy catch from 2 years ago where they lost 14-12. And was it a catcher? Wasn't a catch. He was on his back and he was down. And we've heard everything, but they're going to do it again. And what they're trying to do, just like everybody else, bring social media into the game. Between the Seahawks and the Packers, there's a contest. Take a photo take the photo in your team gear, and then you tweet it at NFL fan record and hashtag Packers. Okay, and they're going for the world's record between team to team. And then on Friday, looks like they want everybody to do it. Every team, tweet yourself out there. Check it out at NFL.com. And this has been a Convergence Report, and probably I'm talking for nothing. I will see you next week because I got the big cut. But anyway, I'll see you next week.